The board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cohn.
Present.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Aldridge. President Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderwoman Spencer. President Green. 13 present. You have quorum.
Thank you. Quorum being present, we will be led in opening reflection by Omar Malik with the Asian American Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be reciting a poem today called Freedom by Rabindranath Tagore, the late Bengali poet from Calcutta, India. He was a poet, short story writer, song composer, essayist. He was the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. There's much more about him, but I'll keep that part brief. Freedom. Freedom from fear is the freedom I claim for you, my motherland. Freedom from the burden of the ages, bending your head, breaking your back, blinding your eyes to the beckoning call of the future. Freedom from the shackles of slumber wherewith you fasten yourself in night's stillness, mistrusting the star that speaks of truth's adventurous paths. Freedom from the anarchy of destiny, whose sails are weakly yielded to the blind, uncertain winds, and the helm to a hand ever rigid and cold as death. Freedom from the insult of dwelling in a puppet's world, where movements are started through brainless wires, repeated through mindless habits, where figures wait with patience and obedience for the master of show to be stirred in a mimicry of life.
Thank you, Omar, for being here this morning. As many of you know, this month is Asian American Heritage Month. So this is a wonderful occasion to be able to celebrate the contributions of our Asian American community to the city of St. Louis. Thank you again, Omar. Announcement of any special order of the day. Please dispense with line item 4. Introduction of honored guests. Introduction of honored guests. Alderwoman from the 10th.
I'm going to do your favorite.
Alderwoman from the 13th.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to recognize Dave Sweeney. Dave, what pants do you have on today? You have the plaid. There you go. Thank you, Dave.
Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Looking good up there. I would like to introduce my honored guest, has been a regular, the Sheriff of the City of St. Louis, a resident of the 14th Ward, Mr. Vernon Betts. Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, I have a few honored guests. I'll start off with a name that we know, but it's changed a little bit. I would like to have as my honored guest, Dr. Marlene Davis. And I would also like to have as my honored guest, Queen Ida Dixon, who celebrated her 92nd birthday in the 10th Ward yesterday at Prime 55. Happiest birthday, Queen Dixon, and shout out to my sister Rose for bringing her and having her celebrate with us.
Thank you. As many of you are also aware, a St. Louis treasure passed away yesterday, Miss Tina Turner. While she was not born here in St. Louis, she was considered a native by many. She attended high school here, and as one of my friends mentioned, anyone who attends high school in St. Louis is automatically an adopted child of this city. So I would like to have a moment of silence for the passing of Miss Tina Turner. Approval of the meeting minutes from our previous meeting of Friday, May 19th. Alderman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move that we approve the minutes from Friday, May 19th, 2023.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman of the 7th, that we approve our meeting minutes. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cohn.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Aldridge. President Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderwoman Spencer. President Green. 10 aye votes and 2 voted present.
Thank you. With that, you sustain the motion and pass the rules from the meeting minutes from our previous meeting. Report of city officials.
The report of city officials can be found in A, B, and C of the agenda and has been placed in the aldermen's mailboxes.
Petitions and communications.
We have none.
Please dispense with line item 8. Board bills for perfection on the informal calendar. Does anyone want to take any board bills off of the informal calendar? Does anyone want to take any board bills off of the informal calendar? We will dispense with line items 9, 10, and 11. First reading of board bills. Oh, Alderman from the 5th.
How soon
You're
you forgot
recognized.
Thank you. I'd like to suspend the rules for the introduction of board bills 39 and 40. Do I have to do them one at a time? I'm getting old, I forget.
Yes. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 5th and seconded by the Alderman from the 2nd that we suspend the rules for the purposes to introduce board bills number 39 and 40.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cohn.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Vollmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Aldridge. President Green. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Boyd. President Green. 13 aye votes.
With that, you have sustained the motion from the Alderman of the 5th. Madam Clerk, please read the first reading of board bills.
Board Bill 36, introduced by Alderwoman Schweitzer, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on May 10th, 2023, to amend the boundaries of Bevo Mill Area Special Use District as indicated on the map shown in amended Exhibits A and B so as to include the remaining portions of parcel 5653-9-220.001 as described in Section 1 below and in City Block 5653 to amend the boundaries of the bow-tie sub-area of the Bevo SUD to include the same portions of parcel 5653-9-220.001 and contain an emergency clause. Board Bill 37, introduced by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance revising and amending ordinance number 71504, which created North St. Louis small business and nonprofit grant programs, clarifying eligibility for such grant programs, eligible uses for funds available through such programs, and how the St. Louis Development Corp. Will assess applications and make awards for such grant programs, and ensuring such grant programs are administered consistent with relevant federal requirements, and removing barriers and addressing other issues impacting implementations of these grant programs. Board Bill 38, introduced by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, pursuant to ordinance number 70333, as amended by ordinance number 71394, and ordinance directing the Director of Streets to install speed humps to calm the flow of traffic on the 5800 block of Maple Avenue and the 1200 block of Euclid Avenue.
Reference to Committee of Board Bills.
I'm sorry, I still have 39 and 40.
Oh, my
Board Bill
apologies.
39, introduced by Alderman Vollmer, an ordinance submitting to the qualified voters residing in the Garden Subdivision Special Business District as designated in ordinance number approved 2023, a proposal to renew and continue the levy a tax on real property located in said district, submitting said proposal to voters of said district at an election 2023, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 49, introduced by Alderman Vollmer, an ordinance renewing the Garden Size Subdivision Special Business District pursuant to Section 71.790 through 71.808 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri, setting its boundaries, tax rate, initial rate of levy, subject to approval of the qualified voters, bonding authority, and use to which tax revenue may be put, creating a Board of Commissioners, and containing a severability, effectiveness, and emergency clauses. That's the extent of first reading of board bills.
Just for clarification, that was Board Bill 40, not 49.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Board Bill 40.
Thank you. Reference to Committee of Board Bills.
To the HUD Committee, Board Bill 36. To Transportation and Commerce, Board Bill 37. To Public Infrastructure, Board Bill 38.
Second reading and report of standing committees.
The following board bills were reported out of Transportation and Commerce with a due pass recommendation. Board Bill 10, introduced by Alderman Cohn and Alderwoman Velazquez, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, Board of Public Service, Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing the Director of Airports, President of the Board of Public Service, Comptroller of the City of St. Louis to enter into and execute on behalf of the city the memorandum of agreement between Southwest Airlines and the City of St. Louis, Missouri, which is attached here to as Attachment 1, and made a part hereof, containing a severability clause and an emergency clause. Board Bill 11, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, the Board of Public Service, the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing a Fifth Amendment to ordinance number 65163, containing the severability clause. Board Bill 12, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, the Board of Public Service, and the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing a Fourth Amendment to ordinance number 67357, containing the severability clause. Board Bill 13, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, the Board of Public Service, and the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing the First Amendment to ordinance number 69870, containing the severability clause. Board Bill 14, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, the Board of Public Service, and the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing the First Amendment to the ordinance number 70140, containing the severability clause. Board Bill 16, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, the Board of Public Service, the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing a First Amendment to ordinance number 71005, approved July 25, 2019, which authorized multi-year public work and improvements at St. Louis Lambert International Airport, and including a first supplemental appropriation totaling $9,323,256 into ordinance number 71005 for the payment of costs for work and services authorized, containing the severability clause. Board Bill 17, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, the Comptroller, and the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, making findings respecting the transfer of maximum of $13,727,769 of excess monies that the City of St. Louis intends to transfer from the Debt Service Stabilization Fund to the Airport Revenue Fund during fiscal year 2022 to mitigate rates on an annual basis during the term of airport use and lease agreement commencing July 1st, 2016, containing the severability clause. Board Bill 18, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission, the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing and directing the Director of Airports, the Comptroller of the City of St. Louis, owner and operator of the St. Louis Lambert International Airport, to enter into and execute on behalf of the city on airport land lease between United States of America, Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration, and the City of St. Louis, Missouri, which is attached hereto as Attachment 1 and made a part hereof, containing the severability clause. Board Bill 19, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission and the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing and directing the Director of Airports and the Comptroller of the City of St. Louis to enter into and execute on behalf of the city an out-grant license between United States of America, Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration, and the City of St. Louis, Missouri, which is attached hereto as Attachment 1 and made a part hereof, containing the severability clause. Board Bill 20, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing and directing the Director of Airports and the Comptroller of the City of St. Louis on behalf of the city to enter into and execute the First Amendment to the Local Concept Food and Beverage Concession Agreement with OHM Concession Group, LLC, containing a severability and an emergency clause. That is the extent of second reading report of standing committees.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That Alderman Cohn's been a busy person this week, I see. Report of special committees.
We have none.
Please dispense with line item 15. Board bills for perfection consent.
Board Bill 2, introduced by Alderwoman Spencer, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on March 8, 2023, to change the zoning of property as indicated on district map from the J Industrial District to H Area Commercial District in City Block 367, so as to include the described parcels in City Block 367 and contain an emergency clause. Board Bill 9, introduced by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance establishing a two-way stop site at the intersection of Enright Avenue and Hamilton Avenue, regulating all traffic traveling northbound and southbound on Hamilton Avenue at the intersection of Enright Avenue and Hamilton Avenue, containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 21, introduced by Alderman Cohn, an ordinance pertaining to the commercial vehicles as such term is defined herein, prohibiting such traffic along Merrimack Street between South Broadway and Grand Boulevard, and exempting from said prohibition non-commercial pickup trucks, emergency vehicles, including tow trucks when providing emergency services to non-commercial vehicles and vehicles making deliveries to nearby addresses, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 24, introduced by Alderman Cohn, pursuant to ordinance number 70333, as amended by ordinance number 71394, an ordinance directing the Director of Streets to install speed humps to calm the flow of traffic on the 3500 block of Mangum Avenue, 3900 block of Giles Avenue, 4700 block of Tennessee Avenue, 3200 block of Liberty Street, 4400 block of South Spring Avenue, 4600 block of South Spring Avenue, 3700 block of Neosho Street, 3700 block of Taft Avenue, 3400 block of Alberta Avenue, 3300 block of Gasconade Street, and the 3200 block of Mount Pleasant. Board Bill 22, introduced by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing the Director of the Department of Public Safety on behalf of the City of St. Louis to enter into the County Jail Maintenance and Improvement Subaward Agreement with the State of Missouri Department of Public Safety and accept the subaward, appropriating said funds and a required city match for said funds, and authorizing the Director of the Department of Public Safety to expend the appropriated funds by entering into contracts or otherwise for the purposes allowed by such subawards and containing an emergency clause. That is the extent of the Board Bills for Perfection consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adopt board bills for the perfection consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, I move that we adopt the board bills for perfection consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman of the 10th Ward, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 1st Ward, that we adopt our perfection consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Alderman from the 4th Ward.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Board Bill number 22, I know that I was co-sponsor of that, as was, I believe, the rest of the Public Safety Committee. So I just want to make sure that's noted before we perfect it.
Thank you, Alderman. Madam Clerk, please make note.
So noted.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Board bills for perfection.
Board Bill 6 as amended, introduced by Alderwoman Spencer and President Green, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment authorizing the issuance, establishment of terms, and sale of one or more series of the general obligation bonds not to exceed an aggregate of $23 million to finance the cost of the project, providing for the payment of costs of issuance, appointing a bond register and paying agent, authorizing the preparation, execution, and delivery of such documents and actions or as necessary or appropriate, repealing inconsistent prior ordinance provisions, and containing the severability and emergency clauses.
Alderwoman from the 8th, you are recognized on the perfection of Board Bill number 6 as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Floor Leader.
Vice President.
Vice President. Members of the board, I move that we perfect Board Bill 6 as amended.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 8th. Is there a second? Second by the Alderman from the 4th Ward that we perfect Board Bill number 6 as amended. Alderman, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Board Bill 6 as amended is an ordinance authorizing the Comptroller's Office to issue bonds in the total of $23 million. To give a little history here, back in 2021, this body considered an initiative to extend, for lack of a better term, just to extend real estate taxing authority, to extend the bonds that the city has to provide some infrastructure for our residents. We passed that bill early 2022. It went before voters in April of 2022 where it passed. And this is the issuance of those bonds. At the time we passed the bill, we did not have a real project list, but we do have a project list before us here today. It does include $21 million worth of projects that were recommended by the Capital Committee. The $23 million difference there is just to allow for some, the volatile market in pricing of bonds right now. So if you look at Board Bill 23, the project list includes $11.5 million of necessary funds for bridges. These are 20% of what the actual cost is. The federal government will come to the table with the other 80%. We've also got some necessary breathing apparatuses for our fire department. For those of you who don't know, we debated this a lot over the course of the last couple years. Our breathing equipment for our fire department is very badly out of date, and it's really, really dangerous to be going into these burning buildings without adequate equipment for those folks. We've also got a few other things in here, but those are the two big ticket items. We've got $1 million in pool renovations. These will go to our public pools, for which we do not charge our residents. They're free. They're a great amenity, and they do need a lot of work. So that's pretty much it. I will take questions from members of the board. Thank you.
Great. Is there any discussion on Board Bill number 6 as amended?
Board Bill 6 as amended. I'm here.
Seeing no one, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
The list is in the back of the board.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
It was already moved and seconded. Yeah.
Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cohn.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Aldridge. President Green. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderwoman Spencer. President Green. 14 aye votes.
By your vote, you have sustained the motion from the Alderwoman of the 8th Ward on the perfection of Board Bill number 6 as amended. Alderwoman from the 8th, you are recognized on the motion to suspend the rules for the purposes of moving Board Bill number 6 as amended to the third reading and final passage consent calendar.
to the third reading final passage calendar.
Do you mind repeating that? Your mic was cut
Oh,
off.
excuse me, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, members of the board. I move that we suspend the rules for the purpose of moving Board Bill 6 as amended to the third reading final passage calendar.
Consent calendar.
Third reading consent
Final
calendar.
passage.
Okay, final passage, yes. Consent.
Okay, it's been moved by the Alderman from the 8th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we move Board Bill number 6 as amended to the third reading final passage of Board Bill's consent calendar. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Oldenburg. Aye. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Alderman. Aye. Thank you. Alderman Cohn.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Aye. Alderman Vollmer. Aye. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Aye. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Aye. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Aye. Alderwoman Keys. Aye. Alderwoman Tyus. Aye. Alderwoman Boyd. Aye. Alderman Aldridge. Aye. President Green. Aye. Alderwoman Velazquez. Aye. Alderwoman Spencer. Aye. President Green. 14 aye votes.
By your vote, you have sustained the motion from the Alderwoman of the 8th. Board Bills for perfection. Alderwoman from the 13th, you are recognized on Board Bills, the perfection of Board Bill number 5.
Board Bill 5, introduced by Alderwoman Boyd and Alderwoman Sanier, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing the Department of Health to accept an overdose data to action grant award of up to $400,000 from the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services for the grant purposes of working to decrease drug overdose death rates, appropriating such funds to the Department of Health, authorizing the expenditure of such funds to fulfill the obligations of said grant to the extent such funds are received, authorizing contracts and other documents to expend such funds to the extent received, containing an emergency clause.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Okay. Alderwoman Boyd wants to ask for perfection of Board Bill 5.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman for the 13th that... It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 13th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we Was it the 10th? Sorry. Alderwoman from the 12th. It's been seconded by the Alderwoman from the 12th that we perfect Board Bill number 5. Alderwoman, you may proceed.
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair. This is a grant that has been given to the Health Department for the opioid overdose, which is a drastic issue within the city of St. Louis. And I don't really think I don't think people understand how drastic this has impacted our city, because our EMSs are running drastically trying to save lives on a daily basis. So again, I'm asking for perfection of Board Bill 5.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Is there any discussion on Board Bill number 5? Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I just want to be added as a co-sponsor to the bill, and would like to make a motion to embank it.
There's been a motion by the Alderman from the 14th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 8th, that we embank Board Bill number 5. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, the motion is sustained that we embank Board Bill number 5.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Aye. Alderman Oldenburg. Aye. Alderman Cohn.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Aye. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Aldridge. President Green. President Green. 14 aye votes.
By your vote, you have sustained the motion from the Alderwoman of the 13th Ward on the perfection of Board Bill number 5. Report of engrossments.
Board Bills 7, 4, 8, and 6 as amended.
Third reading and final passage of Board Bills consent.
Board Bills 7, 4, 8, and 6 as amended.
Alderwoman from the 10th, you are recognized on the motion to adopt the third reading and final passage of Board Bills on the consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we adopt the third reading and final passage of Board Bills consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 10th Ward, seconded by the Alderman of the 14th Ward, that we adopt our third reading final passage of Board Bills on the consent calendar. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Schweitzer. Alderman Oldenburg. Alderman Cohn.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan. Alderman Vollmer. Alderwoman Velazquez. Alderwoman Sanier. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Browning. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Keys. Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Boyd. Alderman Aldridge. President Green. President Green. 14 aye votes.
By your vote, you have sustained the motion from the Alderwoman of the 10th Ward and have, third read and finally passed the aforementioned Board Bills. Third reading and final passage of Board Bills.
We have none.
Please dispense with line item 18B, report of the finally passed and signed by the President.
Board Bills 7, 4, 8, and 6 as amended.
All other business being suspended, the President shall in open session affix his signature hereto, the end that these may become law. First reading of resolutions and reference to committee.
Resolution 20, introduced by Alderman Narayan and President Green, priorities for the Public Safety Committee.
Alderman, you're recognized on resolution number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Vice
Resolution
President.
number 20.
I would ask that this be sent to the Public Safety Committee.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 4th. Is there a second? Seconded by the Alderman of the 14th that we send resolution number 20 to the Public Safety Committee. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please sign resolution number 20 to the Public Safety Committee.
So noted.
First reading of resolutions in reference to committee continued.
Resolution 23, introduced by Alderman Cohn and President Green, priorities for the Transportation and Commerce Committee.
Alderwoman from the 8th, you're recognized on resolution number 23.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I move that we assign Resolution 23 to the Transportation Committee.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman of the 8th Ward that we send resolution 23 to the Transportation and Commerce Committee. Is there a second? It was seconded by the Alderman from the 9th Ward. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please sign resolution number 23 to the Transportation and Commerce Committee.
So noted. Resolution 24, introduced by Alderwoman Schweitzer, President Green, and Alderman Brownie. Priorities for the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee.
Alderwoman from the 1st, you are recognized on the first reading of Resolution 24.
Thank you, Vice President. I move that we send Resolution 24 to the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 1st Ward, seconded by the Alderman of the 9th Ward, that we send resolution number 24 to the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please sign resolution 24 to the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee.
So noted. Resolution 25, introduced by Alderman Vollmer and President Green. Priorities for the Legislation and Rules Committee.
Alderman from the 5th, you are recognized on resolution number 25.
I thought you hadn't recognized me. Haven't changed that much. Oh, thank you. I asked this resolution be assigned to someone else's committee besides mine. How's that? We asked to assign it to Legislation and Rules. Thank you.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 5th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we assign resolution number 25 to the Legislation and Rules Committee. Is there any discussion? Alderman from the 6th, you're recognized.
I would like to be added as a co-sponsor to this resolution.
Yes. Madam Clerk, please note the Alderwoman from the 6th would like to be added as a co-sponsor to resolution number 25.
So noted.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please assign resolution number 25 to the Legislation and Rules Committee.
So noted. Resolution 26, introduced by Alderwoman Spencer and President Green. Priorities for the Budget and Public Employees Committee.
Alderwoman from the 8th, you are recognized on the first reading of resolution number 26.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I move that we assign Resolution 26 to the Budget and Public Employees Committee.
It's been moved by the Alderman of the 8th Ward, seconded by the Alderman of the 7th Ward, that we send resolution number 26 to the Budget and Public Employees Committee. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please assign resolution 26 to the Budget and Public Employees Committee.
So noted. Resolution 27, introduced by Alderwoman Boyd and President Green. Priorities for the Health and Development Committee.
Alderwoman from the 13th, you're recognized on resolution number 27.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I recommend to put resolution 27 to the Health and Development Committee.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman of the 13th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we move resolution number 27 to the Health and Development Committee. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please assign resolution number 27 to the Health and Development Committee.
So noted. That's the extent of first reading of resolutions in reference to committees.
Second reading of resolutions, committee reports, and adoptions.
We have none.
Please dispense with line item 21. Courtesy resolutions. Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on the motion to adopt the courtesy resolution consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the courtesy resolutions consent calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderman of the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 4th Ward, that we adopt our courtesy resolutions calendar. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Miscellaneous and unfinished business.
We have none.
Please dispense with line item number 23. Announcements.
Monday, May 29, 2023, the office will be closed in honor of Memorial Day. Tuesday, May 30th, 2023, Budget and Public Employees will have a committee hearing in the Kennedy Room at 9:30. HUDs will have a meeting in the Kennedy Room at 2 p.m. Wednesday, May 31st, 2023. Budget and Public Employees will have a hearing in the Kennedy Room at 9:30. Budget and Public Employees will have a hearing in the Kennedy Room at 4 p.m. Thursday, June 1st, 2023. Budget and Public Employees will have a committee hearing in Kennedy Room at 9:30. Personnel and Administration Committee will have a meeting via webinar at 11 a.m. Public Safety will have a meeting in the Kennedy Room at 2:30 p.m. And Friday, June 2nd, 2023, full board meeting in the chambers at 10 a.m. That's the extent of the announcements.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Other announcements? Alderman from the 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I wanted to announce the graduation in classes of 2023. And so I want to recognize all of those students and parents that have gone through these years and reached this goal. And so I want to congratulate them from us as the Board of Aldermen.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Alderman from the 4th Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just wanted to first congratulate you on overseeing your first entire meeting. I know you took over the dais a few times briefly before, and also we're just a little bit ahead of Pride Month, but the same as we did for President Green. I wanted to just take note that I believe this is probably the first time that a member of our local LGBT community has presided over a meeting of the Board of Aldermen. So just wanted to congratulate you for that.
Thank you. Alderman from the 10th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, I have two announcements. One, to congratulate Queen Cara Daniels on her 28 years of giving and serving in the city of St. Louis down at KMOX Radio. Today is her last day, and I was able to go and congratulate her on air this morning. And so I would thank from the Board of Aldermen, for how she has always helped us to control the narrative and been unapologetically herself on the air again for 28 years. I don't know how many of us have done something for 28 years, but congratulations, Queen Cara Daniels, on your retirement. The best is yet to come. And my second announcement is one of the things that you can take part in this weekend for Memorial Day weekend. I hope everybody has a safe holiday, but it's that time of year again. The St. Louis African Arts Festival will be May 27th, 28th, and 29th. This is a cultural and family affair. It's a free event in the 10th Ward at Forest Park. So please come on out, have a great time. There will be vendors there, activities there, and it's always a good way to connect with the African arts culture here in the city of St. Louis.
Alderwoman from the 1st Ward.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, Vice President, members of the board. I wanted to make a few announcements. One, we are collecting period products for the St. Louis Area Diaper Bank, which is trying to collect 50,000 period products this week and extending to next week. So if you are able to donate a box of tampons or pads to people who need them, we have boxes outside of the Board of Aldermen office. A lot of people can't afford those very simple supplies, and St. Louis Area Diaper Bank provides that to them. So if anyone is able, citywide, please come and drop some items off. Second, I wanted to announce that the Honorable Vice President and I are having a town hall, not this Saturday, but next at 12:30 at the Carondelet Library. We share one of those, Carondelet as a neighborhood, so anyone's welcome, everyone's welcome. Hope you can make it. Right now we have Bethany Williams of the Streets Department come in and give an update, and I think we'll have some other city folks there too, as well as our neighborhood improvement specialists. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, next Friday, Friends of Carondelet Park is hosting a movie night in the park starting at 8 p.m. Come see Goonies with Friends of Carondelet Park in our wonderful park. And a concert series start next Saturday or Sunday too in the park. Thank you.
Alderman from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President, or Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Mr. Vice President, members of the board. First, I want to thank everyone for this past Monday who attended the joint town hall that myself and Alderwoman Spencer had downtown. We had robust conversations about crime and the way that we can move our city forward. They were really excited about some policies I think that we'll be moving down here at the Board of Aldermen. And secondly, I would like to announce a huge milestone for one of our alder people over the weekend. We'll be turning 21, the alderwoman from the 6th Ward. And I want to invite everybody to the Leisure Room after the Board of Aldermen for some cake, ice cream, and to celebrate with her as she's finally legal age. So thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Any other announcements? I would like to just announce there's also the pools that the city runs that are opening this weekend as well, specifically in Marquette Pool. Marquette Park, we have the pool opening on Saturday at noon. The neighborhood organizations are doing a pool opening party that starts at noon. There'll be free food, there will be music, and there's other community resources that will be available. And then later Saturday night at the Marquette Park Fieldhouse, we'll have Dutchtown movie nights. And this particular movie night will be Puss in Boots, which is always a fun movie. So I hope you all can join us down in Dutchtown for those fun activities and enjoy a cool, refreshing dip in the Marquette Pool. I would like to also just extend my appreciation to the City Parks Rec Department for their efforts in getting the pools open. We did have a little bit of a snafu, an issue at Marquette specifically, and they worked very diligently to make sure that the pool was still going to be able to open on time. So round of applause to our city employees and all of their hard efforts. Any other announcements? Alderwoman from the 7th.
Thank you. I just really want to thank, we had a town hall yesterday in the 7th Ward. It was excellent, such an excellent turnout. We ran out of agendas. I think there was over 80 people who came and showed up. Thank you to also Director Berthany Williams, the Neighborhood Improvement Specialist, Captain Joe Marisi. So many folks came out and gave a full update, and we had really important conversations about our streets. Also, this past weekend in Benton Park, there was an excellent event that happens where, specifically I heard about some residents talking about they were able to receive some forgiveness for their tickets. They were able to learn about city resources, which I think is really important since we know that the city will restart with its booting and things like that. So I think as much of that is encouraged. And then I also wanted to make sure that I said that the Budget and Public Employees Committee has 2 public meetings that are coming up. The first one is going to be at 4 p.m. on the 31st, and then the second one is going to be on June 3rd, which is a Saturday at 10 a.m. So we're trying to pick times more in the evening that work for people or pick times on the weekend that work for folks. We will keep you all updated with an official location. We're going to try to find one that is one in the north of the city and one in the south of the city. So we'll keep updated on location, but please mark your calendars for that. We really want to, we're having all these conversations about our employees' pay and different things, and so budget is a huge part of that, and we want community feedback on what that should look like.
Excellent. Thank you, Alderwoman. Any other announcements? Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on the motion to excuse.
Thank you, Mr. Acting President, because now I'm going to make sure I make the motion that we excuse our Madam President for necessary absence.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 7th, that we excuse the President for necessary absence. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman from the 10th, you're recognized on the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we adjourn until Friday, June 2nd, 2023 in the chambers.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from the 14th, that we adjourn until Friday, June 2nd at 10 a.m. in the chambers. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.